So this is, I think, our fourth in a series of different presentations about devices that help with mobility. This time we have Rick Prunty from the Chairlift, who has already produced a number of products that are actually used by many of our community members. And he is going to actually be introducing a new chair this time. And he has today also is Giving Tuesday. As you know, you may have received in your mailbox many emails from different organizations that help to many causes that you're interested. So MSU certainly needs your help to continue the work we do. And we take opportunity to mention that to you guys if you want to help with Giving Tuesday as well. Rick, I think it's all yours. Thank you for accepting to come.
Thanks very much. As is mentioned, I'm Rick. I'm with LiftSeat. We're better known for the power toilet lift that you see over here on my right. Many of you may have them in your home. We've been in the power toilet lift business for 16 years. I've been with LiftSeat for about 5 years, and Jeff wanted to make sure that I told you a little bit about my story. I had a special needs daughter in my home for 25 years, confined to a wheelchair. She lived on IV fluids for most of her life. And I know a lot about being a caregiver, and I know a lot about what's involved in taking care of somebody with greater needs and some challenges in their life. And when I saw the LiftSeat product, it was a very easy decision for me to make to get involved with it. And I've enjoyed 5 years of being on the phone talking to people about getting up and down off of the toilet very much. I want to thank any of you that are out there that have purchased the product. It's been a complete pleasure working with you, and I've enjoyed seeing you and the Myositis folks at the various association meetings, patient conferences, so on. And today we're going to talk about the all-purpose chair, and this is simply taking the LiftSeat technology and moving it to the rest of the rooms in the house, making it easy for you to safely get up and down in your home in different rooms, as I said, safely. We have 2 models of this product. I'm standing right now with the 200 model. This is for people 5'10" and taller. We also have a 100 model, which is for people 5'9" and shorter. The lowest position on the I'm going to call it the Independence because that's the name of our toilet lift. The all-purpose chair is a 22-inch lower, fully lowered position and a maximum lift of 34 inches. The 100 model has a fully lowered position of 20 inches and a lift of 30 inches from the floor. This is a very, very new product for us. We shipped our first units. It's in September of this year. We're enjoying a lot of good feedback and a good response to it. I think the most important thing to remember about this product is we're trying to get you an affordable product to use in your home. I know that there are a lot of demands on households that have requirements for special needs, and there's needs for equipment that seems to be never ending, and adjustments that have to be done. So obviously affordability was a big factor in our choice. There are some great products out there that can be used in a similar kind of capacity. We're trying to get to a price level that we're trying to be at a price point that works within most people's budget. We're not trying to be the BMW. We're trying to be the car that everybody drives every day and gets what they need out of it. The upper is from a nationally known office equipment manufacturer, the office chair part of it. The lower part of it is pure LiftSeat, manufactured in Michigan and designed by Jeff Nelson and some helpers. Same LiftSeat technology, same quality. It's built to last. We have locking casters on all 4 corners. You really only need to lock 2 of the casters, to set it still for lifting. You obviously want to have 2 locked when you do the lifting. The hand control is the same hand control that we use for the LiftSeat. Right now it's running on battery. The design is you can move it around the house on battery, and then you can take it back. And this is a straight vertical lift right now. You can take it back to wherever you need to. and use that same LiftSeat technology to plug it in and charge the battery. And if you have a, good grief, this was not rehearsed. There we go. See how easily it slips in. What the heck did I do? In any case, there it goes. Just plugs in the back, and you can charge it up. If you're not going to be moving it around the house, you can use it mostly at your desk. You can get it without the battery, and just use the AC power. The unit is adjustable in terms of the back. Could go up and down. Just a little knob in the back. There's also a similar knob underneath for, and there goes the battery. This is going 100% correct. The lift, the back of the chair goes both in and out and up and down adjustability. There are 3 lifting motions. One is the straight vertical, which is what it's set on now. Then there's a slight tilt and a more a moderate tilt, designed primarily for shorter folks who need to have a quicker tilt to keep their feet on the floor when they get down. The footrest that's down here, this bar is 7.5 inches off of the floor. If you're capable of reaching down and locking the casters from a seated position, you can do that, and you can walk yourself around the house seated in the chair. If not, if you have a helper that's going to do the moving of the chair and locking it up, you can lock the casters in the back for safety getting up and down. Talked about height. The limit on the lift is 315 pounds. The inside dimensions here is 19 inches between the handlebars, 20 inches on the seat, and it is 18 inches deep, which is about the standard office chair. The office chair I sit in every day is 18 inches deep. It's 25 inches wide, a little bit wider than the LiftSeat, and it's 26 inches deep, so it's got a little shorter footprint than the LiftSeat. Always, we're working with a trade-off between affordability and quality. I don't think we've sacrificed any quality in the sense that it's very safe and it's not, and it's easy to use. There are probably some accessories coming down the road based on the feedback we're getting. It is our intent that all of the accessories will be backwards compatible. That is, anybody who buys the initial LiftSeat will be able to add the accessories to it at a later time when they're available. And that's one of the benefits of being a small company. We're pretty agile and pretty responsive to the needs of people, especially things that they request about the product and things that they might want to use. I think I've covered it. The main thing is to get up and down safely. That's the point. I guess at this point we can open up for questions.
I had a question related to like the power. How long does the power do you require to charge it, like every night, and how do you do the recording? What is the battery exactly?
We recommend that you charge it overnight. And from a practical sense, depending on how many times you use it, you could probably do it comfortably once a week. But it just depends on how frequently you use it. But one charge on the battery is good for about 50 lifts. And the problem with that is nobody can count to 50, and the battery does not have an indicator on it. So I like to, keeps the price down. And that enables you to pick the time you want to use it to recharge. But typically, if you can roll it over to an outlet every night and plug it in, that's a great thing to do. If that involves more work than you're willing to do, just make sure you're religious about doing it once a week, and the batteries will last for years, and you won't have any trouble with them.
Perfect. And we start to get some of the questions, so let's get those, and then after that we can answer on some of those. What about the arm? Do the arm fit under the desk? Well, I suppose that depends on the desk, right? Will the arms fit under the desk?
It depends on the desk. Frankly, it's fairly high compared to other office chairs. It's a couple inches taller than most office chairs, and you can certainly bring it up to the edge of the desk. Then, depending on how thick a person you are, that may be close enough. I typically don't see people with the arms under their desk, but It would depend on the desk. And I was talking to a guy about this a few months ago, and his attitude was, well, if I have to put the desk up on some mounts, that won't be the first time I've adjusted my life to take care of what I can do.
Mm-hmm. So, and then just a follow up from my side is the armrests are fixed. You cannot take them apart if you want to go out from the other side. They are fixed in the way they are right now.
At this point, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I think a removable or retractable kind of arm is probably in the works, but I'm not going to give you a timetable. It's R&D is going to we're going to let demand tell us what's the most important and take it in that order. And that's been mentioned before, so it's likely going to be an option.
Perfect. And I have a question from Pauline in Canada. If you have a distributor in Canada, or you are only in the US?
No, we ship to Canada just about every day.
Okay.
The shipping costs to Canada, because of the taxes, are high. Shipping costs everywhere these days are pretty high, but Canada has some taxes that makes it expensive depending on where you are. But like I said, we ship to Canada every day.
We have a hand up from Gail Moore. She's been waiting. Gail?
He already asked my question. Thank you, though.
Okay, thank you.
I did want to know from the ground up how right now the length of the arms from the ground to the arm.
Let's see. This is not in the fully lowered position. What did I do with my tape? I don't have the tape measure with me. I can tell you that this is 41 inches at the top of the back. So I would suspect, here comes the magic tape measure coming in from the side.
Production, eh?
Okay, the top of the handlebar in the center is 31 inches.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you told us before that it goes, depending on the model, you can go to 34 inches or to 30 inches, depending on the two models, right? The height. Sure.
Correct.
Can you show us the tilt? I think Jim was asking if you can actually, can you see and show us how much it tilts?
There's two different additional tilting positions.
Yeah.
And changing the tilting position involves moving the pins from one set of holes to another.
Yeah.
It's not a complicated process. It's pretty simple, but it can take two able-bodied people to change it. Typically, before we ship it, we'll have a conversation with the person ordering and talk about what they're doing now and if they're using a LiftSeat and how they're using their LiftSeat. The vast majority of LiftSeats are, probably 1 in 300 goes out straight up and down, but that's a different situation because it doesn't have a soft kind of waterfall edge on it. The LiftSeat tilt, if you're familiar with that, is the middle tilt level. It's not the most steep. We have one that's steeper than the standard LiftSeat tilt, which is 14 degrees. Oh, this is set in the middle tilt now.
Oh, yeah. So
okay, that's a very tame tilt, but it is tilting.
Okay.
You can see that.
Yeah, some people may like it, some people may not like it. So suppose you don't want any tilt, you can also do it without any tilt, or there is always tilt?
Yeah, up until now, we ship it without tilt.
Okay.
Unless somebody has a specific request.
Because I think sometimes we find some of the IBM patients don't like to have a tilt. They prefer a straightforward up. Some of them may need a tilt depending on their height.
I haven't found that.
Yeah, okay.
I talk to somebody with IBM every single day. Yeah. And we ship out maybe 1 in 300 lifts straight up and down. One of the things about straight up and down on the LiftSeat is it's like coming off a table. It's flat and it's hard. And once your feet are off the floor, then you have to do a lot of wiggling and hip rolling and upper body. So a little bit of tilt goes a long way in terms of easing to get off. And it's a tilt that we have is much more shallow than the living room chairs that kind of dump people out, especially taller people.
Yeah. And I think the next question from Barbara is, how wide of a doorway do you need to go through? I think that's a good question, a technical question on how. What is the space? Yeah.
It'll go through most standard doorways, unless it's a real old home. The width is 25 inches to get through.
So that's all. Yeah.
Yeah, it's typically not an issue, but in some older homes, usually much older homes, they may have narrow doorways like that.
Yeah, it just depends on the home. And what about the flooring? Do you recommend certain type of flooring when the chair will not work based on the
It doesn't seem
after?
to matter. Obviously, rolling on carpeting is a little bit more difficult depending on the pile. In terms of the locking of the wheels, that doesn't seem to matter very much. Locking the two wheels makes it very difficult to move. If you lock four, I'm not sure you could move it. At least a normal human being with normal strength. But as far as the carpeting goes, it just depends on the pile. If it's a high shag, nothing's going to roll easily.
Right. And if you are sitting, you can set yourself the locks, the brakes on that one, the locks for the casters. If you are sitting down.
You just step down on them, and that front caster there is locked.
Okay.
Okay, locked. Come on. There we go. That one's locked, and you can see that it's pivoting on that. If you lock two of those, it's not going to move. And it works pretty much the same way on carpeting. And when you lock those wheels, they're not going to move. It's a question of will they skid. Yeah.
We have one question from Jim about, does the seat swivel?
No. In order to swivel the seat, you need to move the whole seat. The whole lift has to twist. That seat doesn't swivel. That's one of the things that starts to add price.
Right.
We want to be as our first model. We want to make sure that it's affordable for most people and get them up and down and wherever they need to be in the house. So, does that mean we won't see a tilt or we won't see a pivot? That's probably one of the things that's down the road as far as features. But like I said, at this point, it's a question of demand. What are people asking for first?
Yeah. So I think there is another question from Jim. It's like, have you talked to the VA on this device? Do they cover that? And maybe that's a good time for insurance. Have you ever been able to get anyone insurance for this device, or you don't know?
This one is so new for us. I haven't seen anybody use insurance because the toilet lifts are not covered, and typically the easy chairs are not covered. I can't imagine why this would be. As far as the VAs go, we have a quote and an initial order in from a VA. We haven't got it processed yet. And one thing about the VA system, it depends greatly on which VA you're going to and your ability to lobby with them. So I'm not going to say no for the VA. I would say you need to, if you're a veteran and you have access to benefits, let us contact them, and we can work with an occupational therapist to get a consult done. The LiftSeat, we do a great deal of business with VA, so it's not a strange area for us to work. We have a lot of familiarity and a lot of success there. And I don't want to make claims about this that before we know.
Lori has a question. Can you demonstrate locking the casters while seated? Does that?
Yeah. One of the things that, if you're able to walk yourself around, and keep in mind that this is a little taller for me. I've got the shortest legs on a 5'9" man in America, but I would be using the lower one. But you bring it in, you turn it, and the wheels come out, and then you stomp down hard on them, and they're locked. And then you can do the lifting up and down. And unlocking is just as simple as that. Yeah, and it just depends on what you're able to do. Everybody isn't going to be able to do that.
Yeah. So that's a good point because this kind of requires the same. And then you can go up on that one. Yeah, that's always a nice thing to see it.
I'm at to a stand right there.
And Rick,
like I said, pardon?
No. I think I was going to mention, so you can see a slight tilt, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Sorry, Rick.
Yeah, it's a slight tilt. Yeah, if you turn it to the side, you can see the tilt.
Yeah.
So that's that easier to see. It's very slight. It's about what the LiftSeat does. And then we have one more setting that's a steeper tilt, another, I think 6 degrees. And then on the lower lift on the 100, it's going to be more like the easy chairs in the living room. It's going to be a steeper tilt, and it's going to start tilting more quickly, so the shorter folks can get off.
And I think we have discussed talk about a lot of prices, but I don't think we have mentioned the price. What is the price?
No, we have not.
Yeah.
This lists for $18.99, and we're still running a $150 a coupon for the MSU people. And
Nice.
then the shipping depends on where we're shipping it, but as of right now, it's $125 to any place in the continental U.S. Canada is more, and it just kind of depends on where in Canada. It still have our same guarantee in terms of the return. The batteries is an option. That's $115. It's the same battery that we use on the LiftSeat, and that's most of the cost information, I think. We have some alternative handlebars that are in the works right now, and Jeff's working on some other ideas as far as the braking system and that sort of thing. But we're going to try to always keep the base unit as cost effective as possible. That's the number one goal.
Yes. I think there is a greetings for you from Sats from Milwaukee. He already owns your LiftSeat for the toilet, so he's very satisfied with that. So you have a satisfied customer already.
Well, this has been the greatest pleasure of my life as far as a work experience goes. I've never had anything that I've worked with received in the way that the power toilet lift has. It's really it's a great feeling. You feel like you're doing something really worthwhile for people, because there's a lot of people getting a lot of good use out of it, staying out of assisted living, avoiding falls and staying out of the hospital, and then just restoring some independence. It's gigantic. So
yeah, and I think that the power lift, the toilet is really some kind of innovation that nobody else has. I think seems to really fulfill a need in a way.
Absolutely. Well, the toilet's the lowest seat in the house most of the time. So
yeah. That's the case.
That's the place that first manifests the difficulty, when you find out your quads aren't what they used to be. It's usually in the toilet first.
So true. We know the experience, so we are all familiar.
Yes, you do.
We know all that. What about the warranty? You guys have a warranty for the chair? Suppose you...
2 years on the mechanical, 1 year on the electrical. And that's for parts. It's designed much like the LiftSeat. Any repairs that might need to be done can be done. If you can't do basic nuts and bolts kinds of things, any handyman could be able to do it. And if it's anything like the LiftSeat, there just aren't a lot of repairs and a lot of issues. If there's a mechanical issue, it usually comes to light in the first year, and it's some kind of a weld that went wrong, and we get happily very few of those. I suspect this is going to be very much the same way. So
there is a question in the Q&A on contact information. Do you have that, and your website, phone number?
Yeah, LiftSeat.com is our website. You can find out information from there. There's a chat box on the website, and from 8 to 5 Central, we're monitoring the chat box if you want to have questions or contact us that way. The telephone number, easiest number to call, is 630-424-2840. And we're going to provide Manuel with some of the handouts and that sort of thing, so that you can access that online.
Okay. And I'm putting this in the chat, but just to make sure I got it right. The cost is $18.99 with a $150 coupon and $125 shipping. Yeah,
in the continental U.S. If you live in Canada or Alaska or Hawaii, it's going to be different.
Oh, okay. Well, I can understand that. Yeah. Okay. And I have the phone number and the link here.
Also the website. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So one question about like the cover. Is for the chair that is the maintenance? Is suppose somebody wants to do it for other things, is taking it to the kitchen, is taking it somewhere else. What do you have to be careful about that? About you just like a regular chair in home use?
Well, it weighs 80 pounds, so a regular office chair is probably going to be a little bit lighter. But it can be taken apart essentially with 4 bolts, and you can put the upper and the lower into the into the vehicle, and transfer that way. Obviously, with the wheels, it's easy to get to the vehicle. I can't speak to the office chair yet, but I know that people are shipping the LiftSeat. I just had one of our people take it to Rome for 2 weeks, and the airline shipped it at no charge. And he and his wife and the bellhop were able to do the assembly. There was a small amount that there was. They were happy they brought the batteries, but it worked very well, and they were able to pack it back up and send it back to the States at the end. And he was very pleased. But we're hearing more and more about the airlines shipping the LiftSeat and probably other equipment as well at no charge to the passenger. So we used to say that it travels well in your van or in your car. I can fit a fully assembled LiftSeat in the back seat of my SUV. Obviously, here we would want to take that back or set it on its side. But in either case, I mean, it's a sturdy piece of equipment. It's if you handle it even a little bit carefully, it's going to last a long time and it'll travel well.
Do you have anything else you want to tell us about the chair at this time?
No. I think we've covered the basics. I'm the first one to answer the phone most of the time. All the numbers ring on my desk first, and I'm happy to talk to you as I have talked to many of you before. Thanks for taking the time to hear about it, and we appreciate your support over the years. It's been terrific, a great relationship for us.
Perfect. I think Lynn is checking and see if we have any other questions on that. I think to me, it's cover a lot of things and something that you can actually use when you need, because there are so many times we depend for a certain period of time where we can use certain things and then we're no longer able to use them. So certainly having different tools, and now you're having two different equipment that we can actually use is great. Have an option to choose them, have an option in prices. So that's an important thing to have for all the myositis patients who are considering things to have at home that help them. So it's really a very, very good opportunity for us to kind of show the different equipment that is available for mobility and to keep us independent. I think that's a key part of that.
Certainly. Thanks for the time. Really appreciate it.
Manuel,
Yes.
this is Gail. If you got it and you found it didn't work, can you return it?
At this point, yes, we have a return policy. All that should be responsible for is the shipping costs. We have a 15-day return policy, and it can be returned if it doesn't satisfy you for whatever reason. And all you're responsible for is the shipping. So
Just ship it back in the same condition and ship it back. Okay.
right.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, that's always a good chance to have a chance to that. So you have the warranty plus you have a satisfaction warranty in the 15 days. Okay. I think that's an important thing. I was going to ask and I forgot. Great. So thanks everyone. Remember, today is Giving Tuesday. I think we mentioned that in the beginning. And we'll have another seminar probably in December. We just contacted the folks in IndyLift to talk to us a little bit about the tools that we can use to stand from the floor, which is an issue once you are not in the seat, but you are already on the floor. So we'll talk to them about that. Thank you, everyone. And that's it for today, Lynn. Anything else?
Yes, I just wanted to echo that our IndyLift webinar in December should be exciting. And also I put as the last thing in the chat links to our 3 previous webinars in our series on myositis mobility devices. They're there for your viewing pleasure, and this has been recorded and will be available along with those other webinars on our YouTube, on our MSU's YouTube site. So thank you, everybody, for joining. And I guess we'll see you in December. Isn't there a song called that? See you in December.
Goodbye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.